Welcome to the BJ Show. Let's rock and roll. Rock and roll. Come on, everybody. Let's lose control. Brad and John, they're the ones to follow. Yeah, ready for the ride. It's the BJ Show. BJ Show.
John, listen carefully. Do you hear that roar? Do you hear the roar?
Is it the roar of your fans outside of the studio?
No, it's the roar of the 20s. We're into the roaring 20s. It's August.
Oh, I get it. The 20th day of the month is today, right, Brad?
That's right. Today is the 20th day of August, and one of my friends, matter of fact, let me read you this. This is actually not somebody who's local. According to Greg and Dan and WMBD, it's National Radio Day today. Now, John's probably, sticking his finger down his throat going, oh, purge, radio sucks, it's no good. And I'm going like, yes, radio. And John's going, radio sucks. Right, John?
That's so typical. Yeah, and in fact, Brad, I just heard from my favorite radio guy that according to Nielsen, 110% of Americans celebrate National Radio Day. I mean, Nielsen said it. It's obviously true.
John, in C Block, something was said to me.
You'll forget. I'll have to remind you. Let me write it down.
I'm going to write it.
Go ahead. C Block.
I'm going to put a word. I'm going to put a name. If I mention the name, it'll give away too much information. I'll give away once again, one of the problems I have with selling radio is that, well, we'll just talk about it in C Block. That's John Combest, Combest. You spell his name that way when you type it into your computer, johncombest.com. That's what you do. You put his name, johncombest.com, into your computer. Up will come this website. Nothing flashy. Matter of fact, it'll sort of give you deja vu kind of feeling that you'll feel like you're back in the 90s because the website is done in HTML
0.0.
Took a while for you, John, on that one. You weren't really quick on the uptake.
Hey, Brad, you said a Yogi Berra-esque thing the other day, and now you just quoted Yogi Berra. You have Yogi on the mind.
I did. I got Yogi on the bear. Yogi on the mind. My mind's
and Yogi
gone.
On the bear.
Right, I'll be on the bear. John puts together this incredible website which chronicles all the important stuff you should know about the state of Missouri. Tons of things. If we give his entire site, we'd have to do like a 3 or 4 hour show. But what we do is we truncate it. You like that word? I've always liked that word. Truncate it.
Oh, I love it. Truncate, yes.
We truncate it down to 3 items. We bring this guy in, dust him off, pull him out of the grave. Oh, hold on a minute. I got to put this switch up here. We bring him, dust him off, bring him out of the grave.
I'm Casey Kasem.
And he counts him down, and we start off with...
In third place...
A story that's near and dear to your heart, Brad, because it involves an old-timey place called The Post in St. Louis City, which I guess is maybe the old post office. I don't know. And very loud some would say anti-genocide, some would say anti-Israel protesters. 2 stories today. One from St. Louis Public Radio, the other from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. The headline from St. Louis Public Radio, protesters confront U.S. Rep. Wesley Bell at Town Hall about his support of Israel. Now, Brad, 2 key numbers to know here. The numbers that jump out are that there were roughly 300 people at Wesley Bell's first ever town hall, and it lasted about 90 minutes. So those are 2 key numbers here because I guess among the 300 people who were there, both stories seem to suggest that a majority of attendees were there to protest Wesley Bell and what they see as his very pro-Israel stance. A number of times throughout the town hall, Wesley Bell said, quote, "There's a lot of folks who don't want to have the conversation about Israel and Palestine. They just want to spew what they think is important, but they don't want to have an actual debate because these are tough issues. So now we're going to have the conversation, whether you like it or not." According to both reports, Brad, multiple times throughout the town hall, Wesley Bell had to remind people to please be quiet and listen. So what I get from it, Brad, is it was a lot of Wesley admonishing the crowd that clearly had their mind made up and didn't want to hear what he had to say about Israel. You'll recall from a little bit more than a year ago when Wesley Bell defeated incumbent Cori Bush. Cori Bush, in her concession speech, talked about how she wasn't going to let AIPAC push her around. They haven't heard the last of Cori Bush, etc. And Wesley Bell was seen as being the quote-unquote APAC candidate. And I think donations to him would back that up. So to me, Brad, when I see a town hall that goes awry, I feel a little bit differently than a lot of my Republican brethren here. Because when I see people coming to a town hall, and to steal a phrase from where we're from, Brad, in Spanish Lake, acting a fool, I think it generally makes the congressman look like the adult in the room. And I think just from what I've seen in media coverage, Wesley Bell was the adult in the room when it came to this town hall forum.
Interesting. Now, John, once again, I don't understand.
Brad, do you understand anti-Semitism? Tell us, do you understand it?
I don't get it. I don't. And God, if my dad were still alive today, this would just drive him nuts. I mean, once again, my father, a World War II hero who freed, not, directly, but was moving into Germany, during World War II, during, the final campaign of World War II. Ultimately, the forces that he was with, not directly his forces, but they freed the Jewish people from the concentration camps. And they saw, if you ever seen the movie Band of Brothers?
Yeah, surprisingly, I have seen it, Brad.
Did you see the episode where Easy Company actually makes it to one of the concentration camps and what they see?
I did. You asked me this question before. I did see that.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. And the crazy part of this is that if, let's say, an organization of, I don't know, let's say 20 or 30 people showed up and started protesting Italian people on the Hill. We don't like Italian people. They're terrible. They're terrible for the economy. They're a drag on society. Okay, wouldn't that be Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 11? Wouldn't that be the top story on every single station? Wouldn't that be?
Yeah, it would not, because I think we can besmirch Italians now because they're white. But you're right, Brad. If we were besmirching a minority ethnic group, it would certainly be front page headlines. It would be like the Proud Boys putting up a billboard somewhere in Illinois to get attention.
You must be looking at my top three, because
it's on there, Brad. I don't touch it because it's Illinois, so we cede that area to you.
Okay, because I've spent a lot of time in Illinois. Okay, we ready for number two?
We sure are.
Up a notch to number two.
We'll have to put an asterisk on the show when we do a summary, because John's top three today are not just stories from johncombest.com. No, two of them are from johncombest.com, but one of them is not on johncombest.com because it's not technically a news story. There's no news piece written about it, but it's a piece of information that I got because I subscribe to the Missouri Times Whispering Gallery, put together by Jake Croson. The headline, Brad, with a picture: Bailey endorses in St. Charles County executive race. Did you see this, Brad?
I did not, and I have something to talk about that, but go ahead and give me what you got.
Bailey endorses Jason Law for St. Charles County executive. Did you see that one coming, Brad?
I did not, and there's an interesting story that if one person tells me something, I go like, eh. If two people tell me something, I go, eh. If three people tell me something, I go, ooh. So maybe that'll be in my top three.
Oh, okay, that's good. Now, it's surprising to me, Brad, and maybe we can get to this later. But to me, I mean, it's obviously Andrew Bailey was not going to be endorsing Bill Eichel. I mean, I think we could assume that that's true. Bill was close to Will Scharf. Will kind of ran on that, some would call it a right-wing slate or a more right-wing slate last year. So it's no surprise that Bailey wouldn't endorse Eichel. But I kind of thought that Bailey would be with Mike Elam, but I'm guessing there's a connection there as like law and order guys between Jason Law and Andrew Bailey. I'm guessing through Bailey's time, he served as a prosecutor. I'm guessing he got to know Jason Law, trust him, trust his, his values and his judgment. And maybe they have a lot of mutual friends. I don't know. I just always kind of assume that when I think about endorsements, I generally think that endorsements are going to default to Mike Elam because he's so well liked, he's so well connected, he's done so much for the community. But was surprised to see this, Brad. Now, I anticipate that somebody in local media will probably pick this up at some point, because I do think with Bailey being in the headlines on his way to D.C., I think this is a newsworthy story.
That'll be in my top 3, John. You ready for number 1?
I sure am.
The number 1.
Yesterday, 2 short hours after we got off the air, round about 10 a.m., Governor Mike Kehoe appointed his new Attorney General, Catherine Hanaway, former Speaker of the Missouri House, former well-known law woman, U.S. Attorney. The resume goes on and on, Brad. So the speculation didn't have to go on long between the time Andrew Bailey left and the time the governor appointed his AG. Catherine Hanaway, brand new pick, will be Missouri's next Attorney General. And to answer a Brad meme, well, will she just run to D.C. like the last 3 people did? Catherine Hanaway says she'd like to fill out this term. And to my surprise, Brad, she said that she actually would like to serve a full term. So that means that she would run for election again in, what would that be, 3 years in 2028.
You want me to comment on this?
Yeah, please do, Brad.
Okay, first off, this whole thing with the Attorney General thing is ridiculous. Okay, should I make my latter comment that she didn't say?
Yeah, and I'll respond with necessity and a virtue. We should definitely punish frequent listeners by saying the same things over and over again 5 days a week. Go ahead, Brad.
Okay, here's one you've never heard. I have a tremendous appreciation for Catherine Hanaway. Do you know why?
Why is that, Brad?
Because once upon a time, she was a very large woman. And I can say these kind of things because I have a diet program out right now, and I'm not trying to promote my diet program. You can go check out.
And when you graduated from high school, you were 300 pounds.
No, you can check
out
out my...
No, you weighed very little, and then you went to college, and you became a big, fat, disgusting pig.
I did.
And your dad made fun of you, which he should have, and then you eventually lost weight.
No, that was later in my life, but that's a whole other story. Okay, I weighed... let me finish this. Okay. John, you threw me off. Okay, I can say things like this because of the fact that I've had a weight problem my entire life, okay? And I have a weight program that you can take right now. Check out fastfoodme.com, and if you want to take my diet, it's fastfoodmediet.com. I have to be honest with you, John. When I looked at the picture on the story on stlpr.org of this article that you referenced, I didn't recognize her again. Not only is she slim and trim like she's been for a while, but she doesn't even look the same anymore. Her face looks different. Had she had some work, so to speak? John, you know these kind of things.
I can't speak to any makeup or other choices that Catherine makes. I think she looks good. You're right, though, Brad.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't even recognize her anymore because you know how sometimes you have that instant. You look at something, you go, "Oh, that's not Catherine Hanaway."
Yeah, you have an instant recognition. Well, but Brad, also, let's talk about the fact that she's 61 now,
right?
So since the last time she was really in the public eye, she ran 9 years ago for governor. But before that, it had been a while. So your early impressions of Catherine were probably in the early 2000s. We've all gotten a little bit older, but your point, I guess, is that she looks good now.
John, and here's something else. I don't know if I've made my reservation. I'm getting on a plane on Saturday morning. I'm flying to Vegas. I'm going to go to the Circa Casino and Resort, which is going to be one of the what is it called? Untethered, whatever the crazy stuff that is.
Correct, yeah.
The untethered sports book operation in the state of Missouri. Because you can't bet now, but as of right now, Circa has a prop bet on how long Catherine Hanaway is the Attorney General before she moves to D.C. to do something in D.C.
No, there you go, Brad. You sure don't like it when people find other ways to serve their country and accept a nomination from the President of the United States. Lord knows people shouldn't ascend in their career. They should stay mired exactly where they are and then complain about it every morning on the air with John. Well, Catherine Hanaway was a great pick for many reasons, Brad. And one of the things that I think people are not talking about is the fact that if you looked at the slate of candidates that very smart people were saying, hey, here's a field of people who could be chosen by the governor. They were all pretty youngish guys in political terms, guys in their 40s, maybe some guys in their 50s. And the brilliance of Kehoe's pick is that not a single one of them can say they're more qualified than Catherine Hanaway. Whereas if Mike Kehoe had picked somebody like a great guy like Tony Lutkemeyer or had picked maybe David Gregory, if you're among that field, you look at one of those other fellow young guys and you say, yeah, he's okay as an attorney, but I'm just as good as him. That entire field can look at Catherine Hanaway and say, wow, that's a heck of a pick. She is the most qualified. So that's another reason why it was so great politically for Kehoe to make this pick.
Well, I'm a little bit disappointed in the Catherine Hanaway thing, mainly because of the fact I know for a fact that when she drove to Jefferson City, she never got in that left lane and did under 100 miles an hour. And,
oh, yeah, that's your Adam Schnelting gig right there, Brad, right?
And also, she never lived in an old lady's basement in O'Fallon, so that's why I think that she's somewhat deficient. I think that the other two choices, if you would have picked someone who lived in an old lady's basement in O'Fallon, or someone who wanted to pass a law that if you're doing 120 miles an hour in the left lane, and that particular person comes up for buying you at 130 miles an hour, it's 3 years in jail because of the fact that we can't have anybody in that left lane doing less than 150 miles an hour because we have to have a certain legislator get to Jefferson City on time. He could leave a little early, but that's be another story. But see what I'm saying, John? See, you look at things through somewhat of a jaded view. I look at things realistically. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, boy. Brad the realist. You buy any more domains that you'll forget about today, Brad? The other thing is, another great thing about Catherine Hanaway that we will see over the next 2.5 years, I guess, that she's in office, we will see, I think, a lot fewer press releases, and air quotes there. I think we'll see Catherine taking fewer political so-called positions. I guess what I'm getting at is, you'll see a lot less news coming from the AG that she's joining up with every other Republican attorney general to sue this liberal or that liberal or take on this issue or that issue. I think Catherine is a really serious person. And I think because of that, a lot of us who are used to a lot of AG headlines coming, whether it's Hawley or Schmitt or Bailey, I think that we'll just see Catherine probably focus on a handful of issues and focus on being really good at those things. And I don't think we'll see a lot of red meat nonsense coming from Catherine.
John, do you mean to tell me she's not going to be a 97.1 2 or 3 hours a day every day?
Yeah, they actually did change the nameplate on Andrew Bailey's office, Brad. And I would also point out that Bailey and Eric Schmitt have both been on the circuit lately. Not as much Bailey in the last couple days, but Schmitt has been out talking about his new book. You can find a link to that on johncombest.com today, Brad. But he was on 2 days ago. Schmitt did Annie Fry's show. Yesterday, he did Dana Lash and other national shows. You can find all those up today at johncombest.com.
And Eric Schmitt needs my help. You know what he needs my help with?
Does it have to do with something involving the Bridgeton Air Defense or some sort of airplane that nobody cares about?
No, it has to do with the fact that please someone tell these people who do these interviews on radio stations to figure out how to get a good quality microphone system so it doesn't sound like you're in a bucket. You know what I mean? I heard that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Brad.
I heard that on Dana Lash last night, and I'm going like, God, I can't believe all these political consultants. Hey, you got to wear this suit, and you got to wear this tie, and yet they
you're a radio guy, and you say focus on the audio, right?
Yes,
Brad?
exactly. And why does nobody bring these guys aside and say, okay, let me tell you a little story. If you have an iPhone,
you need to go get a Neiman Marcus microphone. You know, NPR uses those. They're only $1,100.
No, they're $4,000, and it's the Neumann U87. Okay, John, you're making fun of me again. And you know what? I love it. I bask in the fact that
Matter of fact, here we go again. Once again, it's time for Brad's top 3 in B Block.
John, you know what? You're a great guy. You know what? You are a great guy. And you know what I appreciate about you?
What's that, Brad?
I appreciate the fact that
I want to say, can we all get along? Can we get along?
We all can get along. Okay.